Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Class 1A podcast. As always, my name is Andrew Ninsgren, and I have Dylan Beal with me today for what I think is going to be a really fun episode that we could either have the exact same results or we could be totally out of it and hate each other's ideas. Because this week, we each are going to create our own agency. Before I talk about how that's all going to work, Dylan, I want to know how you're feeling this week. How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. So on these, normally we actually kind of agree on a lot of stuff, but there's always that one point that we throw down over, and I'm ready to uncover it. Because this is pretty good. It's a pretty good one. I think I got something really good ready. So I'm excited to hear yours too.
I purposely went out of the way not to do my normal type of picks for this because there's so many. I mean, how it's worked is we pretty much just picked four characters, throw them together. So the four characters for every single agency is going to be one top pro level hero, another pro level hero, pretty much as in a sidekick role, and then two students. I mean, the amount of different themes or groups or fan favorites that you could put together there is just we left it as open as possible because we wanted to be using as unique as possible. But of course, being me, and I'm sure you do the same thing, is we both go probably pick themes for our agencies. And then I
Of
just picked
course.
a really random theme and four characters that I don't say I'm gonna love, or some I don't even know too much about, but I wanted to make it as random as possible. And I think that's a fun part about this. And I think for anyone listening, kind of going through this exercise as well, because the amount of hero combinations that you could do are so much fun, and it's just a good way to kind of go back and pick random characters you haven't thought about in the past, and say like, oh yeah, they'd actually synergize really well with Bakugo or something kind of like that. But before we get into the actual episode, and Dylan, you will have your first agency going, just as a reminder, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/class1a. Subscribing, leaving comments, liking the videos, all that helps so much. But if you are listening on podcasting, please make sure to leave the 5-star reviews always. Otherwise, let us know what you think about the episodes on Twitter or wherever else you guys want to let us know. Again, we do all this for you guys, so whatever you want us to talk about, whatever you want us to do, we're always doing it. But the new season is coming very, very soon. I think we have one or two more episodes of Vigilantes, maybe one or two more special episodes, and then I think we have our season recap, our season primer, and then season 5. I mean, we're in 20 days into February, so we're right around the corner.
We're so close. I'm getting so hype.
It's going to be fun. So that'll be coming up much quicker than I think everyone is ready for. So season 5 is around the corner, and we can't wait to talk about that. But today we are here to talk about our own hero agencies. So Dylan, why don't you kick it off with going from top to bottom with your pro hero all the way down to the students, and then giving a
Yeah.
reasoning why and all that.
So this agency, the working title of it, I call Team Mindfuck. So it is Aizawa as the pro,
Okay.
Miss Joke as the sidekick, Shinzo and Hagakure as the two students. So obviously, based on the name and the people, you can kind of guess the theming that I'm going for here. So I'm going for heroes that manipulate how you think essentially. So Aizawa erases the quirk. Miss Joke incapacitates through jokes.
Yep.
Shinzo, you basically just mind control them. And Hagakure, even though she doesn't directly affect someone's mind, being invisible and manipulating things that way, I think is pretty tricky. So the core of what I want to get at with this agency is I wanted to come up with an agency that could limit collateral damage because
Okay.
a lot of the most powerful heroes that we've seen, Endeavor, even All Might, just kind of destroy stuff whenever they're going full blast, right? And you have these problems of entire cities getting destroyed just because a hero and a villain are fighting. What if we had an agency that was specifically curated to not damage a city every time there's a fight?
So pretty
And
much
I
it's like
and I
the underground hero agency is kind of what it gives me the vibe of. All those kind of would be more underground heroes. None of them are super flashy, but still very much get the job done.
Yeah, yeah, their whole goal is you get in there, you take out the villain, and you get out. And I think a lot of this adds to it. I think Aizawa, incredibly powerful. Um, and just compared with Shinzo and Miss Joke, I think Miss Joke completely underutilized. We talked about this during I think the most powerful quirks episode.
Yeah.
I think her quirk is really powerful, people undervalue it all the time, because I think it's just as powerful as an Aizawa quirk. It
But
could be, at least.
knowing you
Mhm.
and being the shipping hero, how much of an impact did that have on Aizawa and Miss Joke being together, Dylan?
Alright, listen. Alright, listen. That is just an added bonus,
No,
okay?
come on.
It's the added bonus of having a really good ship there.
Yeah. I'm just trying I'm just trying to think almost what would I think Miss Joke doesn't work in as well as everyone else. Shin's Control and Eraserhead, 100% high curate. I get the vibe you're going for to kind of mess with them, make them doubt what they're doing. I feel like Miss Joke is a little bit more frontal and apparent of what they're doing, and I almost think, as much as I don't like them, the Phantom Thief or whatever from Class 1B, the one that's always annoying Class 1A, I can't think of his name right now. Blonde hair,
Yeah, yeah, I know who
but
you're
he can
talking
steal
about.
quirks for 5 minutes. One, two erasers for 5 minutes, two invisible people for 5 minutes, or being able just to mess with someone in a way that they just touch them and then they have the same quirk and kind of messing with them that way of kind of questioning reality, or him touching them, having his quirk and then Eraserhead erasing the other's guy quirk, so he's thinking that his quirk's gone now. I think that could really mess with a mind as well if you're kind of going for that vibe.
Yeah.
I think
I
Joke
think I
works,
think
but I think Joke's the one thing where I'm like, I think that could be replaced with someone else and it'd be 10 times cooler. But I appreciate the shipping point.
but think about this. This, like, if the agency as is, I'd read a manga on it. Think
Yep.
about it.
It'd be a
You have
good,
your
yep.
serious characters, you have your funny characters. There's a good balance of the 2.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I never really want to read too much about Hakakure. I mean, I think she'll be incredibly useful as a pro hero, but I don't think she's a great character. I've said this many times, but I agree. If there was a 20, 30 chapter spinoff on this, I would be down to read through it. So I'll give you the credit for that at least.
Nice.
And surprisingly, if unless you got anything else to say, I'll kind of jump them over to
No,
mine.
go for it. Go for it.
Our vibe is a little closer than what I thought it would be. My
Okay.
working agency name is Know Your Enemy Better Than You Know Yourself. So it's Sir Night Eye, Hagakure,
Ooh.
Ragdoll, and then Psycho and Telly, which is the girl from the licensing exams that when she drinks tea, she gets like one of the highest IQs in the world. So pretty much think of this as the smartest detective agency in the world and literally able to know the enemy's movements before they can. You send Hagakure in with Ragdoll. Hagakure tells everyone. So you use Intelli with the high IQ to come up with a plan. You send Hagakure in with foresight so that she's invisible, can't be caught into the enemy's den, and then Ragdoll's able to track where everyone's doing once the actual operation goes down, or kind of the movements inside of it. They literally have no way out of this because there are multiple ways where they know what's probably going to happen, where everything is, and can literally see the outcome of most situations. So that I think of it more as a detective agency, or pretty much kind of almost how they use Sir Night Eye in the Shihatsuki arc, is that these are the ones that get in and figure out what's about to go down for the big operations, and then you call in the joint operation with the police, with the pro heroes that are doing it, because admittedly, none of these are really fighting quirks at all. Sir Night Eye, we saw, could stand up to 10% Deku, but I still think he would falter in the fact of a real villain. Um, so I don't know. I thought it'd just be a fun vibe to kind of go with of just the world's greatest detective agency.
I'm 100% sold already. I think it's really cool because there's a couple avenues here that I really like. One, I like the theming. I think it's really cool to have like a detective based agency. Um, Two, I really like having Sir Night Eye there. I would have liked to see a lot
R.I.P.
more of him. Yeah. And three, having Intelli there. Oh, that's like a deep cut because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about that
Her
character.
quirk is so strong. She has a
It's so
natural
cool.
IQ of like 150. Then let me pull up what does it go up to when she drinks her coffee? I mean, drinks her tea or whatever. So Yeah, so she just has a high intelligence even without. So she has a 150 IQ, and then just boosts depend on the brand of the tea. So it doesn't say especially how much, but the one thing is her plans are not necessarily flawless, as they do not apply to predicting spontaneous and emotion-driven actions. When I read
S-
that, I'm like, shit, and that's where Sir Night comes in.
Yeah, so I would like to, because we're kind of breaking the rules on each other's, because I'm going to break the rules on yours to make it even better. I would take out either Hagakure, probably maybe Hagakure, and put Principal Nezu, because he has
Mm,
incredible
that's the
like
smartest group of people I ever thought of.
yeah, he has like insane strategy, which I think that like with everyone else's like incredible brains, his like tactical strategy brain that he's really good at might be able to make up for not having really good fighting abilities. I think that can more than compensate for it.
Yeah, I was trying to read on what his exact quirk is. He's just super smart, isn't he? Is that just what is enhanced senses and an animal? Nezu has above senses of hearing and smell, and his quirk is high spec. Grants him the ability
Yeah.
of high intelligence that surpasses that of humans, enables him to freely live like a normal person despite being an animal. I see. Then I almost think like there's not enough action there. I think that's where Hagakiri comes in with Ragdoll. That combination there, they're the in the field operation there, is that we have Intelli and Night Eye as the planning and the actually figuring out what's going on. But who's gonna like who's gonna prove that they're actually doing anything without Hagakiri? Is the one problem.
What if you have people like an agency so good at detective skills and so smart they don't have to leave their
That's
hero tower. They just stay there and
that's
they just
true.
like make phone calls.
That's true. And I guess whatever. Night Eye could just pick a random person on the street and just send them into the building, or another pro hero or something like that. Like, I guess he doesn't necessarily have to be the one. He's just a detective agency. They're just figuring out what's going on. Like, I think this group could have figured out so much that happened in the series months before it happened. Like, this group
Yes,
right
easily.
here, there would be so much less death. Um,
Maybe they would be so smart that they would find out that one of their own members was actually the UA trader.
who do you think's the Hagakure?
Yeah, Hakakura.
Yeah, but I think it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot harder than I almost thought, kind of going back and coming up with these because there is so many options, but knowing us, there had to be some kind of theme and vibe, and
Yeah.
there's
We
almost
we
too many
weirdly were
options. It's decision paralysis for me, really. I think you could uh, move around 4 or 5 different things. Like until you could be replaced with Nezu, it's the same exact quirk, pretty much. I think you can get the same vibe 18 different ways, and that's what makes it so hard sometimes. It's really just whoever you like the most.
yeah. We really had like kind of similar thinking though. Which is I think it was because we were specifically trying to not make, the Endeavor agency that was
I
just
thought
really
you were gonna
strong.
do a brute force agency. If I'm not gonna lie, I'm like he's definitely just gonna throw All Might Endeavor and on. I don't think you're gonna do quite that because you like the niche pick sometimes. But I thought it was definitely
If
good to be an underrated power agency.
if we have time, I do have another agency that I kind of threw together.
All right, let's hear it.
So I put this together specifically if we had ones that were too overlap, but we didn't. But we have a little bit of time, so this is one that I call Team Beast mode, and it is Hound Dog, Coda, uh, Shishida, and Centipeder. So Shishida is the guy who looks like Sasquatch, essentially. We haven't seen him in action in the show yet, but he basically looks like Bigfoot. He's in Class B. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Centipeder, Coda, and Hound Dog. So my idea for this is I just went for a theming of like animals of some sorts. I chose Centipeder because he was like the best sidekick. Like he's like like besides like Sir Night Eye, he is actually like the best
does he
sidekick.
have like a quirk or is he just a centipede?
I think he's like a good fighter, I think, but yeah. But yeah, he's basically just a centipede. And then Coda, I think Coda is incredibly powerful for this, and he adds to the theming a lot of just like bringing in the animals there. And honestly, I want to see Hound Dog fight. Like he is a brute force, just go in there, beat stuff up, go crazy kind of person. And we've only seen him in like joke scenarios.
Yeah.
I think in the Shihasaki raid, we saw him a little bit, right?
I
I
don't
think I
remember. I thought he's like I don't know, he's like a school counselor. I don't think he goes on
yeah.
that many like
But
missions.
he still was a pro hero, so
Yes.
but regardless, I do wanna see him in his, like, unmuzzled form, you know? Like, him just, like, going crazy.
I I don't know. Like Hound Dog's gimmick works because we see him so little. I think the second he's leading an agency, it gets to be a lot very quickly when he's losing his mind every 30 seconds and just foaming from a mouth.
Well, no, that's why you have Centipeder. Centipeder is like, the sidekick that kinda runs everything
Mhm.
and, like, is like, "Alright, we're gonna set up this operation," sets up the whole operation and stuff, and, like, basically, like, brings out this bag and then throws the bag forward and, like, Hound Dog, like, crawls out of it and then, like, goes crazy on the villains. Like, just keep him locked up, keep him in a cage somewhere, let's not let's not hear from Hound Dog until he's fighting.
The head of an agency is just going to be thrown in a bag at the villains.
Yes, basically.
All right, I'm in. All right. Yeah, I mean that's just a different one. So with that kind of thing, I'm like, okay, that's a very niche pick. So help me out here. I'm trying to build one on the fly here. The Drop the Beat agency. Present Mike,
Yeah, yeah.
Jiro.
Mhm.
I'm thinking the guy from Class 1B that literally makes comic like sands come out of his mouth. And I need a fourth.
So this one has to be, like, a really good sidekick. Who
Joke
would
could
be a
go in
really
there. Joke would fit the vibe. Very loud, obnoxious, in your face. Joke would.
and do you think we talked about okay, we talked about this in the Deadliest Quirks, but if you could amplify her voice, that would kind of fit the theming a little bit, and that would have them working together.
Is anyone able to amplify her voice?
They know music and stuff. I'm sure they could figure it out.
Yeah, I was trying
Let's
to
get a
think.
couple
That was,
just a
I
couple
was
amps.
struggling with that. I think Joke is fine because she's loud, very similar to President Mike. I think this is just a loud agency that's kind of in your face. But I think those themings like the most random dumb thing you can think of. I was trying to think of grossest quirks with Meatball being in there, but I couldn't think of anyone else to kind of go along with it.
Pinky.
Pinky,
Yeah. She has, like, the acid stuff, like the acid goop.
yeah, the Alien Queen.
It's, like, kinda gross. It's kinda gross.
And then you mix it with the guy that has his eyes pop out from the middle school where Deku and Bakugo went through.
Yes.
It's such a useless quirk, but it's just gross. But I don't know. So I think this is fun. I mean, I think this is something you could almost do. I mean, if I really spent a couple hours on this, I think you could come up with a couple hundred of them. But I think
Yeah.
that almost shows, like, that's why this quirk society is so cool. Is that anyone can work together because of how unique the quirks are here. I know some of them are very one tone, but it just feels like more than anything else where let's think Naruto for example. There's some synergy between like Genjutsu and ninjutsu and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like in a quirk-based society when they're all so much different is that you can get whatever you want. Like yes, I just gave you like the Drop the Beat agency, but like that also could be a really good band in the My Hero universe. Like, and they could be a rescue agency because they all are able to detect sound and project their voices and find where people are, but they're also able to kick ass and be a pro fighting agency and stuff like that. I think that's the coolest part about this that I've kind of realized that like now I just can't stop thinking of like maybe not 4-person combinations, but even like 2 or 3-person like trios that kind of like the Kami Woods and certain not Ed Shot, like they started their own little group too during the show. Like I think that's a really cool part about this that I don't think we see enough of these random team ups. I guess that's because we're still in school. So if they ever do a time jump, I think that'd be so cool just for almost to be a monster of the week kind of vibe if Deku was number one. Like, hey, these are like two brand new like quirks, pro heroes with really random quirks going on this 2 or 3 episode adventure. Like, I think that would be interesting enough because of how well pretty much every quirk seems to synergize with at least 2 or 3 that are around it.
Yeah.
But I guess with that, I don't have another one. I was just trying to make them up on the fly. But I think this is one where I would really love to hear other people's. Even if we did, I could do a whole episode of just ranking and talking about other people. So if you have like, so follow the um rules in quotation marks there of one pro hero that's kind of the main, a second pro hero that's a little weaker, and then two students, and come up with your own themes. I'd love to hear other people, so drop in your comments, send one on Twitter, really whatever you want to do. I think it'd be really fun just to kind of break through. I really enjoyed doing this, but I guess I don't have too much else to talk about today, Dylan, unless you do. I'm just ready for season 5 at this point.
I'm so hyped, and I think leading up to it, it's gonna be really fun to talk about it with you because we're gonna be going over the last season, which I always forget to rewatch like old seasons before new ones start. So that'll be a really good time to do that. And then I think our primer is gonna be pretty good. I think we're gonna have a really good primer. We're gonna set the hype just well enough so that when we go into season one and it ends up or the next season with the first episode and it ends up being just like a
A
filler
filler
episode,
episode? Oh,
we're gonna get mad like we do every single season.
don't remind me of that. I like I've just kind of put that in the back of the head that like maybe this will be the season they don't do that. There's so much to go over. We know how much they're gonna have to try to shove in this season. Please don't give us a filler episode, even though I know it's gonna happen. But thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Class 1A podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed our ideas for a couple of hero agencies. We'll be back next week to go over the newest episode of the My Hero Academia Vigilantes manga. But until then, have a great week and see you next Saturday.